She's not happy. She's Nigerian. Right, my queen?
Was it?
No, no. Keep going.
Okay. That's exactly why I don't run. I just tell time to stand.
Right. Okay, but let's go though. Jasmine Nnenna, welcome back to the pod. Welcome back to the channel. Long time visitor, always coming back. I was wanting to do an end of the year kind of close out chat with you because we started the year in Montreal. We then did a brand new show together on YouTube, Everything is Spiritual. Then we went back to Montreal at the end of the year. Didn't see that coming, to stay at the Human Design Hotel. And I'm just wanting to decompress with everything before you turn 36 on January 1st and enter your first house perfection year, as the astrology girlies say, which is an exciting year.
Which I still don't understand it, but I'm very excited about it.
From what I gather, it's like every 12 years you have these little first house themes. First house themes will be kind of influencing the wider lifestyle, you know?
Okay, so I was 24 the last time that happened?
I believe so. But you're technically in a 12th house year right now, right? At 35.
Mm-hmm.
So we can kind of imagine the themes of what this year might have been like, just with what we know 12th house themes to be. Do you see that showing up in your life?
Yeah, I mean, now that you say it like that, definitely. I feel like this year was all about strengthening my intuition, strengthening my powers, like believing my powers, not so much strengthening them, but like they're happening, trusting them. That's what I should say. Trusting
I have
them.
been watching and documenting these powers. Let me tell you. I'm like, do you know what you can do? Because I've been watching.
I actually saw someone post something in the lodge today about like their interest in their psychic powers, or trying to discern like what are their psychic powers based off of their variables.
Okay.
I didn't fully get to like click into it before we got on, but I was like, oh, that's an interesting.
Well, I love to know you spy in the lodge sometimes. For anybody listening who doesn't know what that is. She doesn't participate much, but she's there watching. The lodge is where people come in a private community with me to talk about how their variables are showing up in real life, the signs, the symptoms happening. And we have the most chatter that happens in the lodge is around inner vision, symptoms, abilities, brilliance. And that's kind of what you're speaking to right now, which I think that's very interesting. And there are these huge themes that I've been tracking throughout this year, specifically of inner vision people who are these visionaries. And they get their visions or their deep imaginings or their journeys or however that information comes to them. They don't get it for present moment. Like they're always receiving something that's like usually futuristic, like this could happen or this is. And so it can be challenging to decipher, am I making this up? Is this my imagination? Is this my anxieties plaguing me? Am I actually psychic? And there's this different type of trust experience that seems to happen with people who have this deep sense, this visionary quality.
For sure.
And it doesn't seem to matter if it's like inner vision in your cognition, in your like inner sense, or if it's inner vision in your outer sense. For example,
cool.
Kim Kardashian is a mountains person with a sense of vision in her mountain, so it can show up in different places. And
she's outer vision?
No. She's inner vision, but
she's inner vision. Okay.
I believe she's a sound eater, but she's not inner vision cognition. She resonates, like her external sense is inner vision. Right. So that's why her lifestyle has this extreme simplicity. Whereas if you are an inner vision person in your cognition and your insides, your inner sense, it's like there's an extreme minimalism in what you'll take in.
Absolutely.
It's what she surrounds herself with,
Yeah.
It expresses just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So what's been you're in a 12th house perfection year. You're an inner vision person. You've been getting these visions. You peeked into the lodge to see other people's visions. What have you been noticing in yourself this year with this ability you have?
I think this year has been like a coming back to an identity as God.
Yeah.
And embodied, not just theoretical, but like I feel like part of these powers are an acceptance of my identity as a divine being. Like it's not like something outside of you is making this happen to you. There's something inside of you that needs to be given permission to actually express itself in this reality. And I have played and toyed with that like for years and years past, but then there were like a few years where I was like, no, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe this is actually not what it is.
I'm talking to myself now.
And
Maybe I've totally lost it.
maybe I've totally lost it. But
Yeah.
now I'm back and I'm like, no, I was right the whole time. And this is actually it. Like you are a divine being and your whole existence here is to make choices. Small choices, big choices, but everything bends to your will. Like it's not like there's some outside force forcing you to do something. It's not like that. And I think sometimes we give up so much of our power to whatever system or whatever thing we find safety in. But this year was for me was like, okay, you love those systems, you've embodied those systems, they're fun to play with, they're fun to talk about, but at the end of the day, you are the creator energetically of those systems. Like they are not controlling you. You are selecting and choosing what you want to experience as a divine being in this reality. And that comes with this felt sense of responsibility, but also this kind of dynamic of like, am I really that powerful? Like,
Yes.
exactly. But
Affirmative.
I feel like I had to go through that whole doubt of like, oh, I mean, and now I've gotten to this place where it's like, oh no, even when I'm not trying to be powerful or when I'm not trying to exert my power, it will meet me in my dreams. It will meet me in the shower. It's just there. Like you can't turn it off.
What's an average timeline for you of when you get a vision or you have a sense of an opportunity or something that could happen? I suppose this could be different every time, but what is an average time frame that you see these things actually come into form? Do they come into form?
They always come into form,
Okay.
but I
So you
will say
see
I don't.
something and it comes into form later.
1000%.
Okay.
I think when I was younger, the timeline was very much like it felt like 7 years, 10 years, like I could see decades into the future. And then when I started to get a handle of like my embodiment and meditating and connecting, it was like the years were dropping down. It was like 5 years,
Hmm.
3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 9 months. And now it's like I had a vision on Friday and it came true on Sunday. I was like, "Okay."
Fun. She's powerful. Can we rewind then? Can we go to where we started this year? Can we go back to February? You and I
Mm,
saw each other in February. Do you remember where you
mhm.
were at? You had just entered your 12th house year. You were going into this basically what I'm hearing is year of deep contemplation around God. I
Yeah.
personally feel if you entertain the idea of a deep throne in you and when you
Mhm,
have these states of presence, it's like, oh,
mhm.
there is something else. Some people call it divinity, some people call it God, some people call it passenger consciousness, but there is a moment of different kind of awareness. And if you imagine this creator, God type entity is just sitting at the throne inside of you, it's easier to let yourself entertain, oh, yeah, I might be a visionary who sees into the future.
Mhm,
Because if there's God sitting at the seat of the soul inside me, of course that would be available. Of course that would
mhm.
happen. Instead of it being like, it's just little old me here and who am
Yeah,
I? And I can't do anything. So there seems to be a deeper contemplation about inner divinity around you that maybe happened this
absolutely.
year. As a fellow collaborator of yours, I felt that through you and was
Yeah.
impacted of that in my own work, even though I'm not at that particular stage right now. It was
Mhm.
definitely felt. So where were we at February? We go to have a little time together in Montreal, no families, get away from
Mhm.
everyone.
I know, I'm just looking in my notes 'cause, whenever I need a timeline connection, I'm like, "Okay, just go to my notes." And February 1st, the first note of that month was, "What is a thought? Why do we
Oh
think?
God.
Why do we need
Oh
belief
God.
systems? What creates belief systems? How do thoughts become beliefs? How do we animate a thought? So that was like the beginning of all of the and then February 7th was Sacral Surrender. I think I had done it again for
Girl.
myself. And then I went into um like I wrote a meditation about being God. And then I have this note that's like 2025 life lessons. And one of them says, "Who are you being for God? What are you emanating that God would want to bask in? Hell is a reality without realizing God's attention is upon you, an inner God or an outer God. What are you offering up on the altar? God is God for us, and we are God for God, a reflection and uh, reciprocity of Godness. So when it comes to getting what we want, it's more so important who are we offering up to have that thing? Who are we being? But more so, what are we offering up of ourselves? And it was just like thoughts about that. Just like, who am I? What kind of power do I have? What kind of connection am I connected to? What is this like bigger pool that I'm not utilizing that I think I'm just like separate from and I'm outside and I'm having to toil and suffer and manually labor to experience something good in my life when that's not the function of this reality or the purpose of my existence. So I feel like this year was very much like realignment with
Mhm.
the fact that I have resources. I have wider resources. And these resources don't have to come from my own physical
You're pretty
laboring and
connected.
doing. Mhm.
Yeah. Um, I know, like, when we were doing our show, Everything is Spiritual in the summer and
Mhm.
fall, a big theme you're going through was your interfaith studies. I feel like I'm
Oh,
hearing a
yeah.
lot of that
Yeah.
now.
Exactly.
Um, if anybody who doesn't know what that is, how would you define that? Your interfaith studies?
Interfaith is literally how it sounds. It's the interconnectedness of all of the faith traditions. So every
Patterns
type of
between them.
yeah, every religion and how they speak to each other, how they connect, what are they saying, and I feel like that was a lot of 2025 for me, and I thought that that was gonna be something that, like and maybe it will still be something that I share publicly, but I think it really was for me internally to see that everything is truly spiritual, and God is in everything, and that we are God. That has always been my life thesis, and I've shared about it in the past, but I think I didn't have I had the knowing and the embodiment from, like, past lifetimes that that was the truth, but I didn't have, like, the theology or the study of the artifacts that exist in this 3D reality, like the books and the texts and the people and the professors, and this year was really about getting into that nitty-gritty
Mm.
and studying with some professors online and creating my own syllabus and reading and moving through different like parts of the syllabus that I created that really just allowed me to affirm, trust that the vision that I already had inside of me from years ago could actually be kind of proven. Like, I'm not designed to prove anything, but it did develop this sense of trust in
Mhm.
myself and in my
Mhm.
thoughts and in my embodiment and in my knowledge and my truth of the things that I know that are true for me. Like, this might not be true for everyone's existence,
That doesn't matter, though.
but it
That's not what we're talking about. It's about
yeah, but it was
individual.
really nice for me, again, going back to that inner vision of like, "Well, how do
Mhm.
I know this? Like, am I sure that this is something that I know?" And then getting to go on that journey of studying it and finding these affirmations of, "Oh, yeah, no, this is like a real thought process. Like, it actually
Well,
exists."
if that's alluring to you, the show Everything is Spiritual with myself and Jasmine Nnenna. Jazz gets
Great
really
show.
into this. Like, if you like deep content that is self-exploration,
Mm.
I guess it's just deep contemplation
Deep
about
contemplation, yeah.
divinity, humanity. Who do you think that show is for and attracts based on its contents and what it evolved into?
I feel like that show is for the new era smart, soulful human.
Ah,
Like, who wants to really think about things, like, spherically, holistically. Like, we're not just talking about religion or spirituality, even though it's called Everything is Spiritual. We're talking about beauty products, we're talking
but
about
but
parenting,
that's spiritual.
but
And it's
everything,
like, here's why
everything.
everything is spiritual.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
what was your favorite episode that we did? The makeup one or the skincare one.
That was fun.
The most popular episode is Where is the Depth? Why is this era so what's missing?
I mean, that was a great one. That one, and I think the last one, like the part 1,
the
part 2.
Spiritually Lost. Yeah, the season finales were big.
Too.
So was like, do you need a personal brand or do you need to get a life?
Yeah.
That one was big too.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of them were so good because they're things that we're thinking about, and I don't think we're thinking about them in public spaces. And I think there's something really cool that happens when we think together in public spaces.
Well, on this note, the commentary around that show, a lot of people thought we disagree a lot. I was shocked because I'm like, in my world, we agree about everything. Obviously, we don't, but that's how I feel about it after we're in discussion. And so it was interesting to see that we would get very deep on very serious topics. And the perception was, oh, it's nice to see two people disagreeing.
I know.
In a respectful, expansive way. And I was like, me over here, we're disagreeing? What? So that was interesting. And so then I had to kind of go back and experience and be like,
I think because like I said, like these are topics that they're kind of like untouchables. Like they're kind of taboo. Like no one wants to touch them because you don't
Nobody
know
wants
how
to talk about them.
Yeah, because you don't know how the other person really feels and if you might offend them and if you might not. But really what I see in the coming times is like these are going to be the most important topics to talk about, not to get on a side about, but to actually be able to connect deeper.
That's the point of the show, though.
People.
It's not about being on a side. It's maybe understand. Let's look at this differently. And like, let's just understand what's going on because we're all making opinions about things we don't understand. And we're all making opinions about things we haven't asked questions about or things that have just been parroted to us that we haven't had a chance to go, how do I feel about that? You know, especially these themes in the collective and in our cultures on how we are to be. Says who? Who made us that way? So it's kind of a little bit of a probing nature to it. But then also it's just like friends hanging out. It's like, hi, how are you? What are you doing? It was so fun. I think it's a great, because it's so deep, I think it's a great bingeable show for a winter season. But I'd also like to circle back come spring and maybe change the pace of it because the show is so deep. I think it could go to a slower cadence, as in not post so regularly. And perhaps let the dialogue be fuller and longer if it wants to be instead of capping it. I don't know. I guess I'm open to experimenting.
Yeah.
Because I found after we discussed things, it stayed with me for a long time too. Like I was still sitting in it thinking about it for like some time, you know?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good show.
Well, thank you for doing that project with me in 2025. I really loved that. It's one of my favorite things I did this year.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoyed it so much. And my other favorite thing was going to the Human Design Hotel. And my favorite part of this experience was watching you do your magic on Eden. This was wild. So I hope you're prepared for this because I'm going to go hard and deep on this. What the hell is a sacral surrender? And where did you get this teaching? What do we need to know about it? What is this sorcery that you're doing? Because I watched you put a real human being into real life experiment, not just this theory we hear about in human design. And I saw your powers, your abilities, your brilliance fully online, not letting anything slide. And in this particular example, you were connecting. There was a little small group of us chatting about very real, deep things, and you were getting Eden to tap back into her sacral, back into her gut. She's an emotional authority, so she has a little bit of a different process as a generator, but she still has this gut feeling experience.
Yeah.
And you were basically there calibrating her to really reconnect with this. And in her world, she is connected to that, right? And you were like, I see through that. And I was like, what is happening? What is happening right now? And you were able to ask her questions. You have this way of asking questions that drops a sacral being into their life force, into their belly, and and just kind of reconnect with that sense. I don't possess that. So it was a marvel to like behold, you know?
Yeah.
And there was this particular moment where you were like, that's not your gut. You're responding from right here. And she went, oh, and realized it. And I was like, again, what is happening? What is happening? What is she doing? And you're like, try again, blah, blah, blah. And you ask a question and and so you were empowering the sacral response in a way I've never seen. That I was like, give her a stage of 10,000 people, because if the world is full of generators who are not connected, or they have quiet sacrals, like the generator is the holiest, most powerful design type on the fucking planet. And so much of this population is totally disconnected from their life force. They're roaming around the planet like zombies. They have no idea what to follow and what to go after. And you basically went in, grabbed that and said, no more. Align now. And so they did. And you call this sacral surrender. What is this?
Oh, man. Okay, first, this whole teaching and like embodiment.
Where does it come from?
Was a result of my studies with Mary Ann Winnegar, I believe is her
Who is
last
Mary
name.
Ann? Why do we need to know her?
6'2". Okay, I'm going to tell you. She's a 6'2" generator who studied directly with Ra. And she
Her
wrote
claim to
this.
fame?
Yeah, she wrote this book. Let me actually. I think it's like the Diaries of a 6'2" generator, actually.
Right, her journal
Let me
type.
just
Yeah,
double check.
you're so impacted by that.
It's a great
she
book
authored this
that
book.
you can get online, and maybe we'll link it below or something so
Sure.
people can go buy the book. And it's basically her life. It's called The Revolution of One, an intimate story of a generator. And
Love.
it's basically her diary entries of her going through her own sacral awakening. And she has a huge past as a spiritual seeker. She has been in different type of spiritual circles. She has lived all over the world. But she said nothing gave her life back, like actually being in the experiment of being a generator and only responding. And that book is front to back, every single page is all of her experiments of saying yes and saying no and waiting and waiting and waiting. She's not emotional, but everyone waits, obviously. Anyways, reading that book, and then I went and I bought some of her courses, and then I was also gifted some of her courses, and it just completely changed everything I thought I knew about human design and what was necessary. Or what was like the main priorities when you're going through your experiment.
I love when I hear you correct, because you think necessary is a need motivation word, and you're like, I'm what's a priority? You always do this now.
I really like priority because it makes me reset. Because
I just
when
saw
we come
you
into
reset.
human design,
Yeah.
We think, oh, this is a priority. We think this, you got to know all the gates, you got to know all the channels, you got to know all of this, da, 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 da. And it's fun, and you do all the things, and it's great, and it's laughable, and blah, blah, blah. But you're not
like
actually
robots.
in your experiment yet. And Mary Ann was like,
everyone thinks they are. Everyone
know.
thinks they're deeply in it, but there is
I thought I
much
was
time
too.
that has to pass before you're actually in it, which is kind of wild.
I was too.
Okay, but Jazz, at a very important moment that hasn't been mentioned about Mary Ann, I know her because she's Mrs. Human Design America. Is that correct?
No, I'll get to it.
Okay.
She's
I'll get to it. Sit down. She's like, okay.
We think that we need all these other things, but Mary Ann really showed through her own study that the most significant impact that you need in your actual deconditioning is just your authority, your type and your authority, your type and your authority. And like you were saying, it was through her being in response that she responded yes to founding Human Design America. But she was already in her experiment. Like, she knew what her yes was and what her no was, and she was already learning with Ra, and she had all of her, first generation classmates under Ra with Human Design. And she's just a fascinating person. She's no longer teaching Human Design or in
She's
the
one
human
of the
design
first
community.
generation, though. Yeah.
Yeah, she's responded out of it now, and she just wants to live her life, and she's given so much to the community, and I don't think actually a lot of people know who she is. So,
Not yet.
not yet. And the Sacral Surrender was a result of being and learning from her experiments and her experiences. She shifted something in me that made me realize I'm not in my experiment at all. I'm not responding. And for the longest time, I had always told you, like, oh, I think I have a quiet authority. I'm not really responding. And
that
it
is
was
not true, but maybe at one time. But now you are clearly the loudest sacral I've ever heard in my life.
In the sense that, like, that's the diagnosis. The diagnosis is you have a quiet sacral, but that's not normal. Like, that's not the thing that is healthy for us sacral beings to have.
And perhaps
after
Mary
going
Ann's
through
teaching is
studying with her,
yeah,
it made me realize, like, oh, I'm not responding because I'm initiating. You can't initiate and respond at the same time, and you also have to wait for things to come to you. I know we know this, but in practice, like physical practice, and Mary Ann gave me the confidence to be like, no, you have to physically practice this. You have to physically stop doing so that you can respond. And while I was reading her book, I would just be taking little notes of, like, what am I doing to really get into my body and really start practicing this? And it turned into this kind of like audio series of me sharing the little practices that I was doing as I was learning to wait to respond, and all the fears and anxieties that come when you stop initiating because you think no one's ever going to ask you anything. Your life is going to come to a standstill. You're just gonna be waiting forever. Nothing's ever gonna happen. How will things happen? Like, it was just all of my anxieties of me feeling in that exact moment, like nothing is happening, and there is this kind of death that goes through. But then you come out on the other side and you realize, like, I don't actually know what I want because I've never heard myself respond to anything. I don't know if I really want that or it's my mind telling me that I really want that. Um, and so I would make these clarity lists, I call them, where I would make a list of everything that I thought that I wanted. And I would have Alex ask me, do you want this thing? Yes or no? And that was like a very ABC elementary way of me being able to respond with a trusted person. And then over time, I just prevented myself from talking. I was like, let me just give myself just a moment to even like feel into
that.
what's going on. Yeah.
When you were doing this in practice with Jess and Eden, there was so much correcting happening because they would respond with speaking. You go,
Immediately.
nope. And you'd like start again. And like you were not allowing anyone to verbalize. You had to use your body sounds.
Mhm.
And it took some people time to be like,
Mhm.
Like it was as the observer who could not participate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was extremely interesting to see how long it took the generator to realize the disconnection to their gut.
Yeah. I mean, it took me 5 years to when I consciously knew that there was a system called Human Design, and this is what was supposed to be happening in my experiment. It took me 5 years to realize I was not in my experiment. Like, obviously, I haven't been in my experiment my whole life, but it took me 5 years of being in the community with the knowledge, learning to realize I am not actually responding. Like, I don't even understand the mechanism or the reason why I respond as a generator. Like, I don't understand the function of responding. I don't understand the purpose of responding. I don't understand what happens as a result of responding or what happens as a result of not responding. We see the little flags of, like, your signature is satisfaction and your not self is frustration. Like, I didn't even know the first thing of what that meant in my body of what satisfaction is and what frustration is.
There's not a lot of embodiment practitioners. It's a lot of theory.
No, it's a
and
lot of
people
theory.
think they've got it in their body and they don't. It's very
it's really, really harmful, I think, I felt that it was harmful for me because it was like, I'm doing everything right. Why isn't my life feeling lighter and changing? And it was because I genuinely was so afraid to begin the experiment because I didn't know anyone that had done it before. And then reading Mary Ann's book was like, oh no, it's going to be a fucking shit show. So just get ready. But then on the other side, you are going to get your power back. You're going to get your life force back. You're going to realize all the ways that people take advantage of you and that you let them take advantage of you.
Huge
because
theme
you're
this
not
year.
responding. Like you're just giving all your energy and power away. And in that sacral surrender, one of the audios I talk about burnout because I didn't understand why I was burning out so much deeper than all the other types when they don't have a sacral. I was like, oh, well, technically they're the ones that are supposed to be burning out really bad. And why am I as a generator burning out to the point where I'm like physically getting sick? And I talk to other generators and there's a pattern happening. And it's because the generator doesn't even know when enough is enough. They don't know when they've burnt out. They don't know when that stopping point is, and then they keep going because the sacral is on. They've responded and they haven't responded
The train is on the track.
The train is on the track. And I remember talking to Brandy Gilmartin. I had texted her and I was like, I
I
feel
love
like
her teaching.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I have responded incorrectly and I should have said no, but I said yes, and now I'm into something that I don't want to do anymore. Like, how do I get out? And she said, just
Respond your way
respond your
out.
way out of it.
Okay,
Like,
what does this mean? Because this is such medicine. Brandy's teaching. How do you respond your way out of it? What does that mean?
The same way that you got yourself in it, you have to wait for something to come. Like, I think that's the biggest issue for sacrals is that we're sitting on our hands like, oh my God, when am I going to get to use all this energy? And I feel like that's what this year was for me. I have so much energy, like just generating inside of me. I have so many things I want to do. And the mind will just tell you, okay, then go do this, then go do that. That's initiating. We're not designed for that. We're designed to basically be at 100% green battery. And when we respond to something that has come into our aura, that thing keeps us at 100% battery until it starts, something is taking more than it's giving. And then we respond, no more. And something else comes in its path, or we just leave it and we get our energy back. Like we're supposed to be rested. We're supposed to be at 100%. We're not supposed to be depleted, overgiving, all these other things. And I didn't know that. Like I knew it in theory, like in the wellness space, people are like, oh, give from an overflowing cup. And I'm like, okay, what the hell does that mean exactly? It means that you come first. It means that you respond. If you don't make a noise, it's a no.
No.
If you're, it's a no.
Or this one.
Yeah, exactly. That's another
I feel like I'm a generator whisperer. I feel like I can decode. I just can't communicate back.
That was another thing that I really had to learn was the size of a generator. The huffing and the puffing is also a response.
I would love to make a whole dictionary of the sounds. Like there's so many little generator sounds and they all mean very specific things. And like when there is no sound, it's a no.
It's a no.
Ask them a different type of question.
Yeah. But also, there was something that came up in that conversation that we were talking about, like why sacral beings are so disconnected from the sound or making the sound is because for so long that was deemed like
speak up, use your voice.
Yeah, exactly. Use your words. Try to articulate how
many parents say that? Use your words. Use your words.
Yeah, and it's not about the response isn't about articulation. It's about correctness. It's about alignment. It's about, is this for you? Will this keep you healthy and satisfied? Or will this deplete you and create deep frustration and illness and sickness and misalignment within you? That's how I had to start like seeing it. And once I saw it like that, I was like, oh, my response is just trying to keep me alive and healthy and happy and aligned. And all I need to do is make a sound, and I don't have to explain why it's a no. It's just, and then we move on.
Oh my God. So at the hotel, we're attached at the hip, walking around arm in arm, experiencing this place. My favorite part of this experience, okay, aside from your sacral surrender teaching, is the way you'd walk around and go, mm-mm, mm, mm-hmm. And I would just be like, she doesn't like that. She wants that. More for her. Like just verbalizing. That was a delight. I love it.
That was funny.
It's fun that it's like not about, it's like it's not about me. I was there going, like, I felt like I was your chaperone. I was like, this is my queen, and I'm her jester. My queen would like another treat, and I was calling you that when we were there. My queen does not want to do that. And people would kind of be laughing. But I felt like your sacral was so attuned there. You didn't actually have to speak that much. You were,
It did show me that.
And it just happened so much that I was overcome with excitement to simply be like, she loves that. She hates that. She wants more of that. Like, it was just fun to recognize and identify. But if I could go off about the counter experience, because I did hear you say everyone is waiting. I don't agree. I don't think this is true. And I hear a lot of people saying this to everyone, and I just don't think this applies to manifestors. Everyone and their dog is like, even manifestors wait. And it's often like a projector or a generator saying that. And I think they sincerely have no concept of what it would be like to not be in response. But like when I'm waiting for my meeting to start, I'm being a generator. Like I'm not being a manifestor. If I'm waiting to like, for the bus, I'm being a generator. Like I would be like, as a manifestor, okay, I'm ready, call cab, come get me. Like, and the world's not totally set up to accommodate the way my energy works. And when I'm not urging, I'm in peace. And that's not a waiting state. That's the best way to describe that is like an inner serenity where there's no tasks coming for you. I don't know what your experience of satisfaction would be like, but I imagine there's just like, gooey accomplishment or something, okay? Like I can feel satisfied, but not to the degree where it's like my signature. My signature is peace. And while you could feel peaceful, my signature that I leave in my wake on the playing field is peace. And when I'm in that, I'm not waiting to respond. I'm not waiting for something to come. Anytime that I am, it's the universe's, the generator planet making me be a generator. And when I'm waiting for my next urge to come, that's really not what the experience is like. Even if you like have a business and you do a launch and you're then waiting for your money to come in, you're being a generator. You're waiting to respond. But if you are a manifestor in your urge, by the time you've done your thing, you're in your peace and you're not waiting for, you've already done the thing.
What do you think about the idea of when Rob was talking about this idea of the initiation with the manifestor, about how there is this, you call it waiting, pause, peace, the moment before you take that leap to that next, okay, I'm going to go and do that thing. You kind of had a description of that at the hotel. I can't remember if it was Jess or Eden that was asking you, how do you initiate, or how do you, like, what's your urge cycle like, or something to that effect. And you said it's like you're on this kind of lily pad here, and you're assessing, like, okay, how could I get from this lily pad to this lily pad? Like, what would I have to kind of move, shake, do? Like, what would I have to initiate in order to get that? And then there's this kind of check engine or check energy of like, how much energy do I have? And will the energy that I have actually get me to that next lily pad to get to the next vision or the thing
or
that
how
I want?
badly do I want that?
Right.
Because of the way my motivation works.
Because the way that I've heard Rod talk about like the manifestor, quote unquote, waiting is more of like, I don't want to call it inspiration, like waiting for inspiration, but it's kind of a little bit of what you said, like the assessment, the like, how do I get from here to there? How do I get from where I am to what I want? And there is kind of like a planning time, or like, I don't know how do you kind of take what he was sharing about that?
The difference in our experience is there's no other lily pad coming for me to leap on. Nothing happens for the manifestor when they're waiting to respond to something. Everything, so that can be intimidating and discouraging. Nothing's going to happen unless you go make it happen, sincerely. So I could be on this lily pad and all these people are like leaping onto these other lily pads. I'm like, where the hell are my lily pads? I'm probably just going to dive in the water and swim and get there on the way I want to get there. You know what I mean? There's going to be different kind of approaches, but there's nothing coming to me. And, like that's not the way my experience is. So the innate experience that the generator has of waiting for things to come to them, respond their way out of it. So many manifestors are living like that and they have no idea. And so ironic that so many generators are like trying to go make it happen. And manifestors have no idea how to go make it happen because they're trying so hard to be in response and wait for the things to come that they're letting their, let's go, bypass them. Like, because they don't have the self-trust, I'm going to say, to that they can actually make it happen, that they're valuable enough, that their ideas are solid.
So what are they supposed to be doing on that lily pad when everyone else is
suntanning, getting grapes fed to them? Like when you're in peace, you're not necessarily thinking of, you're not
like planning the next thing. Yeah.
You're kind of in calm delight. I think it would be like satisfaction. Like, I think it would be like that feeling of, I'm going to say accomplishment, but there's no chasing. There's no waiting for the money to come in. There's no waiting for the community to respond. There's no, that's not, and we do feel that sometimes, but it's kind of like a checkpoint where it's like, oh, I'm waiting to respond. So then you should rewind and go, did I create this whole thing in response? Which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And when did I make the things that came from me? And sometimes that's hard to identify. And some manifestors don't have examples of that. Yeah. And it's possible that they like, we are so homogenized and conditioned by each other that to just figure out what it means to be a manifestor or generator is very complicated. Like,
yeah,
I had recently shared, I don't answer my phone when it rings because it's putting me in response. People are like, well, somebody's calling you. It's like, I will literally, it's mute, go to voicemail. And when I go check my phone, when I've initiated, I'm ready to go look at what's going on my phone. Oh, someone called me. Let me listen. Oh, I'll call them back when I want. I've
dings
stopped
your initiation? Or like what, like, is there like a force, is there like an invisible force behind your back that's like, initiate now? Like, how do you move from peace to initiation? Like, what's the dynamic of leaving peace and that realm of being fed grapes to like, oh, it's time to go and want, or because I know your authority also comes in of like, I want that now, and I'm going to go and get
I'm a rare manifester, right?
Yeah,
I want to acknowledge some manifestors have hits, these pings from the spleen. Some have these emotional waves. That's not my experience. I'm heart-led, so it's a totally different experience. But you parent a manifestor. What do you see in your daughter? What do you see in your daughter? How does she initiate? How does she, what does that look like?
Without authority? Like without considering her authority? Or
I guess just because everybody, so much of the world is a generator. And so everything they think about is in response. And they sincerely can't imagine what a world would be like if there was no response. And manifestors don't respond. They don't even wait. And I know the lore says everybody waits, and they're just pacifying manifestors to make them not feel bad. When really, manifestor, nothing's coming to you until you make it happen. And that can be scary. But if you want it, or you're the one to bring it into reality and initiate it, it's going to come from you, however it comes from you. And depending on someone's cognition, some manifestor might get a dream, and then they might wake up, and they're like, "Huh," and they're going.
What's yours?
I'm highly calculated and strategic, and so I'm very motivated by, like, if something isn't there and I want to see it, and I want it to be there because my people need it, or I think it would be valuable. That's a big one. If I think there's a missing value, I can. And so really, it's once I discover it. Once I discover it. So if somebody comes and puts it before me, you should discover this. They've kind of taken something from me, because then you're not letting me innocently kind of discover it. You're forcing me, and it never goes as well. Because it's like, you should be doing this. You're brilliant here. You could do that. And it's like, oh, I missed that. So now I'm discouraged. So now I have to refill my ego to be encouraged, to be able to use my one little motor to now go do whatever I'm going to do. So if you deplete me, there's a whole process I have to go through to reinflate. If I've entered peace, there's a whole process I have to go through to reinflate. Not that I'm deflated, but I'm not doing that, And again, I'm not waiting. I've heard the emotional authority projector and generator talk about coasting. They enter these phases of coasting on the emotional wave. So I'm going to kind of reference that because I'm not a coaster. I don't have an emotional wave, but there is a period of time where everything's great, where everything is just like nothing can rattle you. Nothing can get under your skin. And you kind of emit this. And it's like you're in this kind of state. And that can last a long time. Like manifestors can be in peace for months. And they're like, when's the next thing going to come? It's like, well, you're in your recovery and whatever your recovery process is. Some manifestors, I've seen some manifestors go through extreme traumas, sometimes around birth too. And it takes years to recover from, I was somebody who got pregnant and I feel like I didn't choose it. Like I feel like it was a surprise and it happened to me. And that was a lot of me unpacking. Like, oh my God, I didn't choose this. Like I have to choose everything. And it just had kind of like a psychological, it's just something that I really had to work through. I don't want to lose sight of something though. Because a lot of my studies, when you're trying to like understand this or get really in-depth texts, came from Human Design America. And if anybody doesn't know what Human Design America is, which is what Mary Ann started, could you just kind of inform us and tell us what that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the Human Design Corporation in America, because I don't know if most people know this, but Ra lived in Ibiza
and was born in Montreal.
Yeah, and there was like no flagship HQ foundation in America around human design. And so Ra came to Mary Ann and asked her, do you want to do this? And she responded yes. And she talks about this in her book. And and also then the subsequent like process of starting it up and having the generator energy to work like 12+ hour days when she didn't know anything about the internet at that time, or like how to get the books online or anything like that.
Some books.
Yeah, she had like responded to an office before she even knew what she was going to be doing. So then by the time Ra asked her, she had this office already and she was like ready to go. Yeah,
Oh, I love this one.
She did a really great job from like not really knowing what to do. And then you just kind of like make Human Design America through response.
Cool.
She's just a cool person and just like a fairy.
If I get to like come back and do this again, I want to be a generator. I feel like I'm taking all the notes on that. I'm learning the language.
But to your point, though, I think to your point mixed with Mary Ann's point about like the things that are the most priority of really entering your experiment is your type and authority.
Yes.
About how many people, many manifestors don't know how to initiate, and how many sacral beings, MGs, and generators don't know how to respond.
Totally. This is the whole thing.
And then we get to this place where like, oh, I'm a line 4. It's like, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless you're responding. It doesn't matter if you're a third line. If you didn't respond correctly, you won't see an experiment. You won't get to do the experiment as a 3-5. You won't get to universalize if you didn't respond correctly. And that's really what I had to like ingrain in my mind. It's like, it doesn't matter if I have defined this or defined that. It's not going to come out if I didn't respond correctly. The powers that are in my chart will not get to be transmitted to the other or the project or the place or the thing if I didn't respond correctly. And so if you really want to be in your quote unquote purpose or like share your powers, you have to come from authority first. Because if you don't, nothing is coming out of your chart. Like there is nothing you can't go in there and like select, the things that you want. The whole chart comes alive. But you have to be in true authority. And one of the things that Mary Ann consistently talked about, even in the later years of her now teaching, was like how important authority is going to be in the coming years with 2027. It's like no one's going to be telling you what to do, but everyone is going to be telling you what to do. Like, no one's really going to know what's right for you, but everyone's going to be telling you, you need to do this and you need to do that and you need to do this thing and take these supplements and go on cold plunges and do that. It's like, but if you don't have inner authority, you're fucked. Like, in all caps.
In this coming up, yeah. But a lot of us think we have authority.
Yeah.
And we don't actually know how to initiate. We're waiting to be pacified, giving us permission that it's okay to wait. It's okay to wait. No, you should be deeply frustrated if you're a manifestor and you're waiting because you're trying to behave like a generator. So you should feel deeply frustrated. What the manifestor actually needs is acknowledgement of everything in your reality is trying to make you be a generator. And that's hard. And you're here as an initiator and you have no idea how to initiate. The first sign of a manifestor who's just found out they can initiate, they go and be an asshole. They're like, and they think they can go. And it's like, we're actually not here being assholes. You know, you don't have to say like, oh, fuck you. You didn't. I'm doing it. It's just a mess. Okay. And a lot of manifestors have been squashed or abused for a portion of their life. So there's immense grace that needs to be extended while they're figuring out how to initiate, especially if a lot of the relationships they're in are not going to like them doing that. So that keeps them small. So many manifestors are actually not set up to initiate and be supported. So imagine the new manifestor is going out and is experimenting and trying to initiate. And like there are manifestors out there who were raised correctly and they're great initiators and they're peaceful people. They're not violent, angry. That's a sign of a manifestor trying to be something they're not. Kip Winsett talks about this a lot. Like he raised a manifestor son and he's like, my son is a peaceful human. He is not an angry. That's not how I would describe him. And I know a fellow manifestor who's very peaceful. I was shocked to find out she was a manifestor. I was like, oh my God. And it was so healing for me to know that that's available. And so much of the manifestor lore that we express and teach is get a hold of your anger. And I think this is misguided. I think it reinforces anger. You know, if we were talked to like, you're here for peace. You're a peaceful creature. That's, you know, and then the manifestor was just empowered to look for that in their life, it would just be a totally different experience.
But even the sacral beings telling us you're here for satisfaction. And if you've responded into something and you are not experiencing satisfaction, get the hell out of there.
Yeah, the word I find to be the best trigger word for generators is pleasure. Like if you're not getting any pleasure out of this, because they're like, oh, but it's worth it because I'm working hard, I'm going to get something. It's like,
absolutely
but there's no pleasure in this for you.
No.
And it's the generator will abuse themselves and contort themselves for something that they think that they've started and there's no pleasure in it, but they're on the train and they got to finish it, got to reach the end to feel any kind of satisfaction. Then they get to the end and it's done. And I suppose there's a relief that my energy's not going there, but there's no accomplishment, satisfaction, reward, whatever that feeling is that I don't share.
Like it's not quite reward.
Okay.
Like
it's your piece, right? It's your
but it's not reward. It's more like like just the noise of
fun sacral sound.
You know, just
taking notes. This like sound means
it's this feeling of like everything goes my way. I get everything that I want. Doors are opening for me. It's kind of like momentum where you're just being taken here and there and carried and there's a spread for you and you don't have to lift a finger and like everything is just going my way is satisfaction of like
our
I can't
delusional mantra. Everything works out for me.
Everything works out for me. You know what this conversation kind of feels like? There are going to be more and more communities popping up that are type authority specific.
We were just talking about this manifestor community, projector guides, right?
But I
pure
think
generators.
What's happening is like there needs to be much more embodiment aspects of it. Like I totally know agree. All these communities are there and they're teaching you about the concepts of human design manifestor and human design generator, manifesting generator, and human design projector. But what does it look like to watch someone who has lived through a lifetime of experimentation? And that's what I got with Mary Ann. that's what I have not seen yet with like the other camps.
It's a sacred text. It's a bit of a gospel.
Some sort of publication that really amplifies the life experience of a manifestor initiating, the life experience of a projector waiting for the invitation. Like
I did
it's
want to
not
ask
theory
you
anymore.
Do you want to put out a book like Mary Ann's? Sacral said no. Sacral's like, no, boring. Don't want to do that. Okay, fine.
I feel like it already exists. I think what would need to happen now is more of examples, like people just existing. Like you get to see me existing, and
okay, let's stay there.
That's enough.
Because we went to the hotel, and you're 7 years in your experiment. You're doing the embodiment thing. We are with people of all different ranges of knowledge and understanding. What was your biggest takeaway, the most meaningful part of this in-person experience where now I don't know if you've been to places where there's that many people who were fluent in the awareness language, but it was one of my experiences where there was a lot of people gathered that I could speak this way to. So what was the most meaningful part for you?
I think the most meaningful part for me was that everyone was trying to give each other the space to be in their own inner authority.
Yeah.
Ironically, it showed me that there's not a lot of practice of embodiment of inner authority. It was like a catch-22. Like you're in this beautiful space where you could technically be in your full response or whatever your authority is, and no one's judging you. Everyone's open to it, but you don't know how to be in that full authority. So I
felt very respected as a manifester. They were very accommodating of my energy. And I was like,
super
this is
respectful.
Fun.
Yeah, like everything was so beautifully done and considered. I think it also showed me that, what we've already said is that you could be studying human design for 20 years, but it doesn't matter. If you're not in your authority experiment, like nothing's going to happen.
Okay, we're different here, and this is a projection, and so I just want that to be known. But I can never teach what I watched you do with the Sacral Surrender. I'm not embodied that way. It's kind of like Cantone when she was like, I'm teaching parents about their kids, but I'm not a parent. I feel like I have to go become a parent. Well, I'm never going to become a generator. So all I'm really able to like provide is I have seen this incredible framework and teaching. May you try it. And the feeling in me, I've never seen you use your brilliance in the way that I did in this space, you with others. And I've never seen you open up the way I saw you open up here, because you are a closed person. You're a closed inner vision, closed taste person. So I was kind of like, what is happening here? Why? This is not what I was expecting. My friend is so open here. She must feel so safe. What's going on with her? And so I was really computing and kind of calculating. And I felt this like responsibility almost of what she is saying is so important, and I can't be the guy to teach it. And I just want to be louder about this embodiment practice that is so healing for generators, because all we're doing is sharing theory and we're not in person enough actually mutating. Like you do need to be in aura,
Yeah.
And so many human design based experiences have not been attractive to me in that they're like, come to this conference, come to this. It's like, I don't want to go learn more. I want to go and be in an embodiment experience, which is what I felt was the opportunity here with the concept of a hotel. Okay, what is this? Okay, show me. It's not like come to this, there's been conferences or there's been summits, and I'm like, I don't care. I want to party, like I want to have I want to vibe, or I want to relax, or I want to heal. To me, the hotel felt like a healing site in that people would come together, they would gather. There were moments of gathering and unburdening, and then moments to be alone and process, and then to find each other privately. And I felt like I watched you find people privately have really deep connection. I saw you have really deep connection. And every single person you left, you had kind of tweaked. Now, your cross of tension, so just to come into contact with your energy is a sort of a calibrating force. Like it is sort of a like, this isn't in harmony here. And you had this way that was incredibly kind, could be intimidating as well, to say to the other, my love, my friend, you are not in alignment. That's really what you were saying as your cross. In my experience as the cross of healing, I would kind of go in and be like, we're hurting here. This is a wound, like this kind of thing. So I just want you to know how moving it was to witness you put people in practice, in embodiment practice, connect them to their sacral when they thought they weren't. And I can never do that. I can never even try that experiment. I was literally the fly on the wall watching, and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, it was that wild. People cried. People came totally undone. So my takeaway from this experience was I want to tour. I want to be more with people. I want to put the healing art I've learned into the hands of people in real life. I got to get out more. I'm inspired by Jasmine's art and the way she's able to pass on what she's learned. I want to do that in my way, but it's not the same if I'm only available online or digital. There was something so valuable about being able to like touch people. Like, especially like Eden had some shit come out and I had to like hold her and be like, it's okay. We're going, you got this. And I like to be put in situations where I'm able to be that. And so, there were things going on with the hotel. Like, I didn't like some of the value things going on. Like, the creators need to be paid, the teachers needed to be paid, and that's very real. That's a very real thing that has to go on in there. And I trust that will be mended and corrected. And also, I had a hell of an experience. And I needed like 3-4 weeks to
process and digest that whole thing.
To process everything and digest, especially like some of the horrors that came out in the stories that I didn't know about people and that was coming out. I was like, I didn't know this was going on with you. I'm heartbroken. If I get heartbroken, I lose my motor.
Yeah.
So I can get heartbroken very easily. And so I do need a pretty long period of recovery, just kind of transparently. So if I'm thinking about, I want to tour, I want to go out and do this, I'm not going to be able to, like, it's going to have to be like spread out, chill. I would love to tour the Everything is Spiritual show. I think that would be so fun. I don't know if it's at that level yet, but I heard your sacral was open to it. But I think that could be a fun way to like go be with the people and have mutative dialogue in person. Do some fun little experiments in person and just make people feel their own bodies.
Yeah, we have to congregate more. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me at the hotel was just like we need more spaces to congregate, to commune, to come together, to be in aura, to talk, to listen,
Girl.
to just be in each other's energy. And like we might not say anything for 20 minutes and people are just breathing and then
I love that.
the next minutes we're talking about random things. I think it's a priority, not just for me, but like for the healing that I want to continue to experience and how I got a taste of that at the hotel. I want more of that. And I think we just, that was definitely something that I want to experience more in 2026 for sure.
We had a very powerful dinner. I'd like to talk about the dinner for a second. We had a very powerful dinner at the Human Design Hotel, and we arrived a little bit late. And they came to get us. This ego projector was like, ladies, we're waiting for you. Please come in. I was like, the horror, the shame. I'm making people wait. Oh my God. We go in, all the chairs are taken. So there's only one oversized 2-seater chair left at the head of the table. And you look at me like this. Like, don't make me sit there. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, my love.
By now?
I was like, my love, would you sit with me at this table? And it was very embarrassing because you're at the head of the table. And then people were coming at the end to sit and talk to us. And they would like come. And I was like, what is happening? And there were so many moments in that meal where I wasn't actually eating a lot of food because I was tuning in to as a high sound person, I was eating the conversation at the end of the table, who's microdosing over there, you know what I mean? Like there were so many little conversations and I was just sitting there laughing to myself, eavesdropping on everyone. And I tuned in to this conversation about congregating differently. And I want you to know I felt a big call here around this as like a hermit. For the past, couple years now, I've been studying Freemasonry. I like the sacred geometry in how we erect buildings And so much of my studies are people are what fill the environment and make the space, and what do they want to gather around? And a co-thesis you and I kind of started musing on through the Everything is Spiritual show is, well, where are these people congregating now? Like, and we're like, because we don't feel safe at church. The church has changed. We know they're kind of congregating on sports fields, but like something's missing. We know we're kind of going to hair salons or other types of salons. Like, we know we're trying. And there were these moments we would have at the hotel where you would go, and you would like look at me from across a room. You'd give me the Whoopi Goldberg eyes, like, Oda Mae Brown, like, what are you doing? And like there was a moment where Eden was talking about one of her teachings that she had synthesized into this original framework, and you shoot across and you're looking at me and you're like wanting me to see, like, I see you this way, like you're talking with your eyes so much. And this came up a lot around the idea of people gathering and congregating in new ways, around new things. Perhaps we're not congregating around religion, but perhaps we're congregating around awareness and how to become more aware in various ways, individually, collectively, tribally, whatever. And I had kind of said to you, there seems to be an opportunity here about congregating differently, rallying, gathering. What's come up for you after kind of having an immersive experience like that, where you were around people with common interests, was a safe environment, there was learning opportunities? What was your takeaway around the actual concept of congregation?
I mean, this is something that I saw years ago happening. Like that, this has always been the future. I mean, that was the whole thing around like era tea houses, which will still happen.
I was going to say, your tea house. Yep.
It was like I went and I experimented with it digitally. You know, that was like Web3 when I was really into Web3 and really trying to understand like,
or crypto or that whole,
trying to understand kind of other realities besides 3D. But at the end of the day, everything needs to happen in the 3D first. And it's going to happen. Like in the next 3 to 5 years, it's already started happening, but we're going to see the refinement and the niching down of these very specific congregations, whether they're physically in old churches or other buildings or underground or whatever.
I love that word.
It's already starting, and we're going to see more and more of that. It's the Aquarian age. Find your people. It's the era of the people coming together to activate and be advocating for something that's important to that group of people, something that's going to make us collectively more aware. It's not everyone's fighting the same fight. It's everyone is choosing and selecting what community they want to be a part of based off of the values that they're carrying and the energy that they want to give back and contribute. So it's going to be a really beautiful and exciting thing. I mean, we already see that on the shadow side with MAGA. Like all of the Trumpers and the people that's a congregation. Whether we like to say it or not, it's they're congregating around a belief system, an awareness, something that they think that will make the world a better place. And then on the light side, we're also going to see things like the Human Design Hotel. We're going to see a lot of agro-tourism, especially with the food instability that we're seeing collectively, people buying land together, farming the land, feeding, tending the land. We're going to see a lot of
big shifting.
We haven't seen it yet. Like, it hasn't made the jump from, like, Web3 to reality. But in Web3, there were a lot of DAOs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations. These bigger organizations owned by a bunch of individuals.
That's the future, hey?
That's the future. That's the future of business. We haven't seen it quite, like, take flight in terms of how it did with Web3, but these businesses that are
there's less risk if there's a bunch of you. Like if there's a bunch of you,
there's less
the risk is diversified.
But there's also a lot of risk in the sense that you're taking into account a lot of people's opinions
and players.
and who
a lot of
who
cooks
has
in the kitchen.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Who has ownership? If you own 5%, do you get a higher stake in the decision making? Do you, like, there's still a lot of that's having to be worked through in terms of, like, if you want to own a company with 10 people or you want to own a property with 10 people, like, there's going to have to be a lot of logistical things that happen in order to like make that successful. But it's the future.
This is a good segue then to talk about your company, Era. What does Era stand for, and what can we expect from Era Society now going into 2026? What does it stand for? Because like there's some strong values.
ERA is an acronym. ERAH Society. It's the emerging Renaissance age of human society.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was an acronym. I thought it was like Taylor Swift has eras, and so do you, and you put an H on it.
No,
girl, Taylor Swift came after
me. Taylor Swift came after me with that.
Remember that Taylor Swift video?
I know.
That little white girl reading her.
Okay. We're not going to get into it.
Okay, that was so that would be an everything is spiritual conversation.
That's an everything is spiritual.
Actually, pause on everything is spiritual. There was some episode that we did, and I'll go research it, but where we were differentiating between when your values don't match with your belief system.
That's in part 1.
So in our 2-part finale.
Yeah, it's in part 1.
What happens to people when their values and their belief system isn't the same? And we likened that to
that's a great episode.
The ego is your value system and the G center is your belief system. And these things go together and they can break down if there's a dissonance between them. But I'm bringing that up because to me, ERA has helped me establish a lot of my values. So if anybody is unfamiliar with ERA and how you set standards for the new age, what do we need to know about ERA?
I feel like as a third line, I've been experimenting with so many iterations of what ERA is, but actually,
but then what does it stand for?
It stands for the emerging Renaissance age. It stands for the new era. What are the things that are going to survive? What are the standards, people, places, things, businesses, media, ideas, awarenesses, thoughts, belief systems? What are the things that we're going to be taking into this new age? Not the things from the old, not the things from the past. There are going to be reminiscent vehicles, maybe physical media, print, digital media. The vehicles may stay the same. And this is something that Richard Rudd always talks about, how like the hierarchy itself, there's no problem with it. It's the frequency that's within the hierarchy that's the problem. Yeah. So when we see a lot of these breakdowns that are coming and that will be coming in these years approaching us, it's not necessarily like the banking system, the system of banking is corrupt. It's the frequency and the corrupt people within the banking system.
People, our environment.
Exactly. So we're going to see a lot of this refreshing around Capricornian, traditional cross of planning systems. I know everyone's like, oh, everything's going to fall apart. I kind of see it a little bit differently. I'm like,
how do you see it?
I think that they're still going to exist, but with refreshed frequency.
Something in the function will have shifted.
Awareness. Like the banking system will still exist, but with deeper awareness. The medical system will still exist, but with more thoughtful, compassionate doctors that are tuned in, turned on, they're tapped into something.
Dr. Stephanie, medicine woman?
Exactly. Like, I don't think that we're not going to have hospitals or we're not going to have cafes or hotels. They're just going to become the Human Design Hotel as opposed to the Marriott. Like all of these,
I think it's cool that somebody tried that.
Are going to be there. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. So in terms of ERA in 2026, like, I really see ERA as a curated society of people, places, things that you should know about.
Fun. And can we get some type of teaching on the Sacral Surrender there?
Yeah, you can.
Thank God. Where do we go to get that? Because if I'm saying, if there's one takeaway from this episode, if you are a generator or you love a generator, you've got to get the Sacral Surrender. I witnessed it in real life. It was profound how Jazz was able to help someone attune. Now, I saw you do this in real life. I hope to God you go and do this in real life somewhere, and I'm just invited to witness it and like write about it because that's all I can really contribute. You know, I can give comedy, but like that's it's not for me. But I love the generator. Have married
I get invited
one.
And respond. I will do it.
Someone invite my queen to show the Sacral Surrender, pay her handsomely, but also just to, even if somebody wasn't receiving it, like if somebody was on a stage with you and you were facilitating through them, people were there witnessing to see what happens, would be profound. you know? So I don't know what is if we can get that teaching at Era Society, amazing. I'm going to link it below. And I also hope there is some way for it to be experienced in person, because I think a lot in person.
Yeah,
my takeaway from this year is I'm too isolated. And one of the best things I did for myself was leave Instagram. That might seem like counterintuitive to what I just said, but I was plugged into things that didn't matter. And I had a lot of people I had a lot of connections that were tiring me because I was in response a lot.
Yeah.
And once I left that and allowed my body to kind of recalibrate and make some of the art that I wanted to make, I had some deaths in my life this year, lost my dog. It's my dog's birthday today. Oh my God.
Oh, happy birthday, Ro.
Happy
Shout out to you.
At the time of recording. Don't know that I'll keep this in here, but yeah, my little, where is she? Right here. Hi.
No, you have to keep it.
Hi. Well,
this is like it's like a everything is spiritual
pre-recorded,
crossover episode. Unhinged, but also on Vaness Henry Network.
Right. This is on Vaness Henry's channel. This is not on the channel that we both own and split. Should it become monetized, we are sharing those resources.
Yeah.
However, this is just making me bank here now. You coming over here, that's all that's happening. I don't make money from this. Not yet.
Yet.
No, but you know what? Like, my background is in journalism, and my mentor is like, I see you as a news anchor. I was like, oh God, great. And then I'm like, hello, welcome to the channel. Like, it's so ridiculous. But honestly, I'm having fun. And when I go into 2026, I'm needing more in-person experiences. I hope that I'm able to orient myself in different cities to be with people and put them through powerful experiences, because I'm realizing I heard stories about like coaching things and wellness things that were soulless and vapid, and I was like, I don't stand for this. Like, come, let's have you want an initiation? Let's go. Let's put on a party, like, or something. I'm needing more in-person experiences in my life, so I'm going to do my best to initiate that in whatever form I can in 2026, hopefully more than I did this year, now that I got my little taste. It was like feeling like really living. I don't know. I just really appreciate being able to have relationships in real life where people have an awareness of this language and use it in a sort of fluency. It makes me learn so much about myself, helps me fall in love with others more too. And I feel like it allows me to make just a deeper type of connection that I'm hungry for at this point in my life.
Yeah. I know. I was even talking to Isla, which is actually the person that kind of spearheaded Mary Ann's new website, where you can
Who's Isla, and what do we need to know about her?
I just really, I like her a lot, and I like the way that she also, very similar story to me. We were both in design and have been in design, and then you connect with Mary Ann's book or her audios, and you're just like, I'm not in my experiment. And then she got into her experiment and responded her way to this amazing little fairy forest house with her partner. And she's just like in her design, especially as an emotional person. I think you don't get to see a lot of correct responses coming from an emotional person because they're emotional and they need a lot of time. And even in Mary Ann's book, Mary Ann's husband is an emotional generator as well. So there were a few parts in the book where she was able to like teach through her sharing her relationship with him, of how his clarity comes over time. And it took him one time 3 years to get to a point to decide on a car he wanted to buy. He knew he wanted to buy a car. He didn't know which one. And she just kept giving him something to respond to over 3 years. And I have experienced that with my own partner, who is an emotional generator. And when I read just that tiny little part, I wished that there was more. I wished I could have asked more questions about, like, what do you do when they're here? What do you do when they're there? And now connecting with Isla, I'm just like, yeah, the emotional generator is or the emotional sacral being is such an sensitive soup.
I think they are way too rushed universally.
Rushed.
I think the emotional generator, manifesting or not, the emotional generator is so different than the pure generator. I think these two breeds couldn't be more different, which is why I extend grace to manifestors. There's 3 breeds. Obviously, we're all different. I said what I said about initiating, and I know there's going to be some manifestors who are like, I wait. But I just implore you to entertain the idea that you don't. Just entertain the idea that you don't, please. Because I know this whole universe is set up for a generator. And just imagine what it would be if you weren't waiting. Just indulge me. While those breeds are so different, the emotional process, because anyone can be an emotional except for the reflector, but it is just such a different experience. And I feel so many emotional people are just rushed through their process disrespectfully. Yeah. And I do wonder how many of them are making correct decisions simply because the world isn't supportive enough and patient enough.
And they don't understand that it's response over time.
Right. What does that mean to you?
Like, they're still responding, but your response will provide even more clarity over time. You may go from a yes, yes, yes to a no, or a no, 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 yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Like, you could have a whole little pattern and rhythm going on for 3 years about something. And then finally, one day, the way Alex has kind of put it, it's like, like, could take it, could leave it. Like, there's just this kind of neutrality of,
Peace, you know? Feels like a bit of neutrality.
Yeah.
I'm not here or here. I'm
not high or I'm not low.
There's I'm sitting at the throne and I'm observing.
Exactly. There are times where I see him or I see him have written an email or something and I was like, you didn't finish your wave.
Hi, honey. Cute email, but you didn't ride your wave. That's what you were like in person when you were like, that's not a sacral response. And I was like, living.
I'm so rude.
She told
you, sorry.
You're not rude. Ugh. I hate this narrative you have, like, I'm cold or I'm rude. I'm like, you're hilarious. Also, in the behind the scenes, like filming my perspective of it, the way I try to come fuck with you all the time, like I'm having a new understanding of trickster energy. Because to me, trickster energy is like, oh, something's going to come rattle you. But it's like actually something just wants to come fuck with you because it's fun. Like, it's like, hi, I'm going to put the camera right in your face. And you're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, having a good time. Do you like your tiny cake? You know, I do get a lot out of, Derek says, like in the Everything is Spiritual show, I'm always just trying to make you laugh. I'm always just trying to get you going because I'm like, hi, you having fun? And the reward, if you're like, I'm like, yes. You know, I'm all pumped that I like made her giggle about something. Or when you're revolted with disgust, I love that too. Any big emotion, I'm like, film her.
Big response. Yeah.
I like a big response. Big response. I have been in the scene with you where there's no response and I'm like wilting on the ground, like desperate for help. And you're like, I'm like, carry me. You're like, will not. I love that. Anyways, Jasmine, thank you for coming on the show. Good luck into 2026. I hope that our show continues in some way, in some kind of cool evolution, because I loved that.
Me too.
I know you're having a birthday. You might be moving. There might be a lot of change happening for you in 2026. So can't wait to watch. Love knowing the ERA acronym and what the company stands for, and that we can get the Sacral Surrender there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It'll be a good time. See you next year.
Where can people find you if they don't know?
At Jasmine Nnenna on Instagram, at Era Society on Instagram, erasociety.com.
That's it. You're not welcome anywhere else. Peasants, goodbye. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Just kidding. Isn't there a Substack or something? Are we not? Is there a Substack? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're going to be moving to our own website. So.
I love that.
Yeah. 2026. Everything on our own platform.
Everything on your own platform.
Everyone should just move to their own platform. That's the tea coming for 2026. Don't get caught with your pants down. Get your shit off all these platforms.
Good luck in 2026.